You ever get a second to just lean on your car or a wall and just look up at the fucking clouds? And what I mean is just taking a second to take a load off from all the crazy, the wild on the day by day. I feel like now that I am here where I am, I haven't quite been able to do that for the last like 7 or 8 years. And I'll explain what I mean. Let me not get ahead of myself here. As you guys know, I had to go through the move, the thing that, brings every content creator to their fucking knees because it's hard. So I'm gonna skip like 22 years worth of lore, past the point of where I moved down here cross country on like 200 hours in a dream. That's a whole different story that I can tell you guys another time. Long story short, we got down here. We were job hopping a little bit. Me and my special someone figured it out. I ended up at a place where I was doing all right. I was, I hopped in places I hated: retail jobs, construction, stuff that wasn't me. To the point where I ended up at a call center. And not ideal, but something I do well. And I ended up working at this call center for, a good few months. And one day, an event arose that kind of kicked this whole story off and put us in the position where we needed to move in the first place. All right, so like I said, I had worked at this job for a few months before it really kicked off a whole chain of events. Now, the apartment we were at the time wasn't the best, but it was pretty decent. Like, we could live with it. Anyway, I worked at this call center job, to, hold down this, relatively okay apartment for a good while, like a year and a few months. And essentially what ended up happening is we live in an at-will state, which means your employer can just fire you for whatever reason. You were late once, up, fired. Called your boss a cunt, up, fired. It's just, they didn't have to go through any, it's just the way the state was. Not a big deal, it happens. Long story short, there was a worker named, we'll call her Tiffany, because if I call her what I want to call her, I'll get banned by YouTube. They'll demonetize the video and fuck me in my butt, so we'll just go with Tiffany. Tiffany decided to throw us all on an Instagram reel. Now, we worked at a call center that had a strict no phones on the floor policy to prevent, customer data from being leaked. Tiffany putting us all on Instagram caused every person in the video to get fired. Because, they had a whole ass rule against this. So this put us in the kind of a panic mode where I started going crazy, looking for, jobs that were also call centers. So this was during peak coof season. And because of that, everything on the job market was fucked. Hasn't quite recovered, if you want my humble opinion, but I'm not here to get political. I'm just here to tell you I couldn't find a fucking job at the time, right? Yeah, okay. So because of that, bills started stacking up, and it got to a point where the apartment that we were at said, yo, you gotta go. It's above my head. Corporate saying you gotta go. They're not gonna let us renew. But I'm giving you guys a few months notice so you guys can try to figure it out because you've been good tenants up until now. I know this isn't really your fault. Doesn't matter. End result was that we had to get the fuck out. So in our process of getting the fuck out, we started calling it a bunch of favors. We took out a couple of loans with some friends. Everything was good. Everything was running, was great, handled. Up until we got to this new place. Now, all right, this new place in and of itself had some problems. Wasn't the best place. It was run down. I'll break all that down in a second. But what ended up happening was we got pulled into this new place. This new place not only lied to us about the apartment building we were going to be in, they lied about where the apartment was. But in our state of desperation, we couldn't really fight it. So we took what we could get and we didn't throw a fit. Hey, you're probably thinking to yourself, how the hell does an apartment building lie about, the unit you're getting? So the unit that they showed us was the same model unit that they gave us. But the one that they had shown us was the very pretty one they had spoofed up, made look real nice, was overlooking the little, they called it a lake. It was a fucking retention pond, okay? It was a fucking retention pond. It looked terrible. It smelled terrible. Fuck it, whatever. They said it was a lake. It was supposed to be pretty, nice view, quiet. The building we ended up getting was the one of the same model style, but on the other side of the complex, right next to the main road. And I don't mean your main residential road. I'm talking like this road had a route name associated with it, with shopping centers on like all sides. Like it was one of those apartment complexes that you'd find like next to a mall, and then they would sell that to you as a luxury right next to so and so Dunderfuck Mall. So that was where the problem started. The condition of this apartment was, to describe it with the word abysmal would be an insult to any of the abysses you think of when you think of an abysmal mess. Because the roof was caving in. We had seams of, this drywalled, roof, or like, the popcorn roofs you'd see in like the offices. It had one of those where a couple sections of the tiles were sinking in due to the weight. Beneath the sinks, for pretty much all three of the sinks were fucked. The kitchen sink had a goddamn sinkhole forming under it that we tried to get them to fix from the first, I want to say, year we were there. And we were there for like 6. And then, there was the mold situation. Yeah, I got a picture of a lot of this shit, and I'm gonna show it. But all of these things were cascaded with the fact that, like, dude, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. It's a miracle that in the past few years that, I've been uploading shit to here and Twitter, that I've gotten what I have done, because I was bordering on insanity. I had sleep deprivation. The mold was speaking to me in tongues. It was bad, dude. And it got to a point where after, 6 or 7 years, we, had been trying to get out of here. And this time we just fired it off on a whim. We said, hey, go apply for this place. I don't think we're going to make it. Go apply for it anyway. And my special someone, being smarter than I am, convinced me to apply for the place that we're at now. And we ended up getting there. Now, the move. Yeah, we're like 10 minutes into this, and I'm finally talking about the actual moving process that I promised I'd tell you about. Took me long enough, right? Now that you got all the backstory, we applied for the place that we are currently in now on a whim. And that means that the entire move had to happen on a whim. There was no prep time, no pre-packing. It was, hey, we want to accept you. Can you guys be in there by the end of the month? Yeah, that's great. The end of the month that's a week and a half from now. That's 10 days. So everything got dropped, and we ended up on the moving spree. I packed like a motherfucker. I mean, cue the goddamn montage. Fuck, I am tired. Oh, time to hear all this in the truck, I guess. Get the fuck in there. No,
Whoa, we don't have the budget for that.
I don't think he's killing it. God damn it. Guess it's just me and you, little dolly. Alright, time to get all the fucking furniture. How the fuck did we live on the second floor? Needless to say, I was aggravated beyond words after being stood up by the person who was helping me. He stood me up for some pussy, by the way. I understand, you wanted to clap some cheeks, dude. But damn, you really fucked me over that night. After a few hours on my own moving everything from the second floor into the truck and then driving it back, that anger was enough to help me unpack. And now that I'm finally on the tail end of it and there's nothing left but a couple of boxes, I have to admit that, like I said in the beginning, this is the first time I've been able to breathe and think in like a decade. And because of that, I've been sleeping a lot more, and I think it's because my body's trying to recover. So thank you for understanding that I've been fucking gone and not here that much. But we're gonna go on some good adventures together. I love all of you. Thank you.